how do you know that this is this year's? On the folder it should say 2022-23. Does it say it? Inside the first page. Doesn't? It does? Okay, good. So take out page number 11. We will begin with the invocation prayers, then Guru Stotram. Then I will be leading and you will be following with the third chapter, first 2 shlokas. So we will be learning 2 shlokas per week. And though we have said that there is no mandate for masks, and I come with a mask because my commander-in-chiefs, the Brahmacharins, both Hari Chaitanya and Brahmacharini Divya are down with COVID. So I have been tested negative. I'm very positive about it. And just being precautionary so that when I am dealing with, interacting with all of you, I don't be the SS. Swami Sarveshananda SS is okay, super spreader is not okay. So I am masked and I will be masked for this week at least. Let's hope and pray that by next week they recover and I don't need to wear the mask. Until then, bear with me. Can you all hear me clearly though? No? Okay. So page number 11, let us begin with Om and the invocation prayers. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Samastajana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Bhavani Shankarau Vande Shraddha Vishwasarupinau Yabhyam Vinana Pashyanti Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedhase Raghunathaya Nathaya Buddhir Balam Yasho Dhairyam Nirbhayatvam Arogata Ajadyam Vakpatutvancha Hanumat Smaranad Bhavet Om Namaste Astu Bhagavan Vishveshwaraya Mahadevaya Trambakaya Tripurantakaya Sada Shivaya Before we go ahead, those of you who are joining us for the first time, especially the parents, do you all have a smartphone? So if you can open a browser, if you have already done this last time we met, that means you already have the folder with you. But if not, please open the browser, type in CMDFW. Chinmaya Mission, Dallas, Fort Worth, CMDFW.org. As the page opens up, you will have the drop down. In the drop down, please click resources. In the resources, you would find forms and handbook. As the page loads, there will be click here to download CMDFW handbook. Please click on that. That will be the folder that we will be following every Sunday, page number 11, and you can join us after the invocation prayers. Now back to the Guru Stotram. Please join in. Akhanda mandalakaram vyaptam yena characharam tatpadam darshitam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha. Ajnanatimirandhasya jnananjanashalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai shri Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sthavaram Jangamam Vyaptam Yatkinchit Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Chinmayam Vyapiyat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sarvashruti Shirorratna Virajita Padambujaha Vedantam Bujasuryoyaha Chaitanya Shashvata Shantaha Vyomatito Niranjanaha Bindunadakalātītaha Jnana Shakti Samarūಢaha Tattvamālā Vibhūṣitaha Bhukti Mukti Pradātā ca Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Aneka Janma Samprapta Karma Bandha Vidahine Atmajnana Pradhanena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Soshanam Bhavasindhoscha Jñāpanam Sārasampadaha Guroh Padodakam Samyak Na Guroradhikam Tattvam Na Guroradhikam Tapaha Tattvajñānāt param nāsti Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mannatha Shri Jagannatha Madguru Shri Jagadguruhu Madatma Gururadirānādischa Guruh Paramadaivatam Guroh Parataran Nasti Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Page number 16. For this, if you do not have the folder and your neighbor has it, please share it with them. because you will be leading and you will be following after I chant. This will be the third chapter, the entire third chapter. So by the end of this year, the entire third chapter should have been memorized by all of you. Please repeat after me. Om Hari. Repeat after me. I say, you repeat. Repeat after me. Comprende? See? Very good. Om Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Very good. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Atha Tritiyodhyayah Karma Yogaha. Arjuna Uvacha Jyayasi Chet Karmanaste Mata Buddhir Janardana Tat King Karmani Ghore Mam Niyojayasi Keshava. We'll do it two times, so I'll repeat it again. But this time around, when you chant the second line, Tat Kim Karmani Ghore Mam, but that Tat Kim, that Kim, is being followed by Ghora, Karmani. Ka, the Ka Varga in Sanskritam ends with ng. Like, Ka, Kha, Ga, Gha, ng, right? That sound should be reflected here. So, Tatkim Karmani Ghoremam, not Tatkim Karmani. It becomes King. Do you understand the difference? Let's try it. Arjuna Uvacha Jyayasi Chet Karmanaste Mata Buddhir Janardana Tat King Karmani Ghore Mam Niyojayasi Keshava Vyamishreneva Vakyena Buddhim Mohayasiva Me Tadekam Vada Nischitya Yena Shreyohamapnuyam Vyamishreneva Vakyena Buddhim Mohayasiva Me Tadekam Vada Nischitya Yena Shreyohamapnuyam. So this is the third chapter. Obviously, it comes after the second chapter. So the second chapter has already been done last year. How many chapters are there in Bhagavad Gita? Very good, yes. Awesome. I like that because he raised his hand. Underline, raised his hand. So 18 chapters. There are total of how many shlokas? Chapters are 18. Shlokas are 701 shlokas. Though technically it is 700, but we also have 13th chapter having one more shloka included. So 701 shlokas. So in the first chapter, Arjuna, he expresses all his anguish, misery and fears about fulfilling his responsibilities. And Bhagwan, Shri Krishna, he delves deep into the philosophical aspect of it in second chapter, where he concludes that to have a balanced mind is the focus. Now Arjuna says, that is so right, I can find the balance outside of my responsibility. So why don't I run away? He says, no. To find that balance while you are in activity is where you have the key to success. But Arjuna still doesn't get that. So he asks the question. That is where we start in the third chapter. Now, who is he asking the question to? Bhagavan Shri Krishna himself directly. That who we worship in the form of a photo or a vigraha, right? Arjuna is questioning Bhagavan himself. And what is he saying? Bhagavan, if in your opinion, having that equanimity of your mind is greater than the activity that you are engaged in, which is exactly why I want to run away from this field of activity, but you are saying that I have to achieve it in the activity. I am not confused. You seem to be confused. Who is he saying this to? He is saying it directly to Bhagavan. That is the key factor of our Hindu Sanatana Dharma, that anybody from any background trying to practice this does not take the Shruti or the scripture on its face value, but has every right to question the scripture, the Guru, Bhagavan himself. It is Bhagavan who said it, and Arjuna has the audacity to question Bhagavan. Now, wherever there is this system where you as a seeker have the right to question and seek an answer, there cannot exist dogma in that religion. Dogma is when you are expected to follow whatever is said without questioning. Here what is being encouraged? That you can question, you should question. For your greater understanding, you should question. There is another trend that we usually fall prey to, is where organized religion versus spirituality. Have you heard this debate? Organized religion versus spirituality. It's a big thing. Whenever I have given a talk on that particular topic, crowds have come in. And do you know what many of them support? Let us ask. Which one would you prefer? Organized religion or spirituality? Arey wah. We have a woke Hindu group. मतलब कोई समझता नहीं है. Organized religion and spirituality is the systematic problem of the Abrahamic religion, not in Hinduism. I'll talk more about what organized religion is in the satsang with the adults when I start opening up with Bhaja Govindam. It is not a problem in Hinduism because the student is expected to question. Wherever there is that questioning, there cannot be the dogma of organized religion, because the answer has to be given by the one who is propounding that particular philosophical statement. So Arjuna has asked this question. And what has he said? Bhagwan, you are confused, not me. What an audacity, right? So what does Bhagwan say? Does he get angry like our parents? You will do exactly as I say because you live under my roof. No. He takes it and with a smile, he tries to answer it, but next week. Because the next 2 shlokas, so we will see it next week. Okay? Now.
Today we have our 11th graders presenting a beautiful bhajan. 11th grade teachers are Govind Vadwadgi and Sudhin Dhamankar.
Hari Om. My name is Aditya and this is the 11th grade class. Our teachers are Govind Uncle and Sudhin Uncle. The book we'll be reading this year is Swami Chinmayananda's Self-Unfoldment, a compilation of writings and talks on Vedanta.
Can you hold the mic a little closer?
Oh yeah. Through this book, we'll be learning about various Vedanta concepts and philosophies. We started by discussing our experiences with freedom and happiness, while learning about ethical values like truthfulness or satyam, self-control or brahmacharya, and non-violence or himsa. We learn about Hindu metaphysical philosophy via the BMI or body, mind, and intellect chart, placing concepts like Atman, Brahman, consciousness, and existence into perspective. Each chapter also has questions at the end to facilitate discussion in the classroom. Now, we're going to perform the bhajan, Achyutam Keshavam. It's in a lead and repeat format, so please join us. Hari Om.
Is that the part of music? Okay.
अच्युतं केशवं कृष्णदामोदरं रामनारायणं जानकीवल्लभम् अच्युतं केशवं कृष्णदामोदरं रामनारायणं जानकीवल्लभम् कौन कहते हैं भगवान आते नहीं तुम मीरा के जैसे बुलाते नहीं कौन कहते हैं भगवान आते नहीं तुम मीरा के जैसे बुलाते नहीं अच्युतं केशवं कृष्णदामोदरं रामनारायणं जानकीवल्लभम् अच्युतं केशवं कृष्णदामोदरं रामनारायणं जानकीवल्लभम् कौन कहते हैं भगवान खाते नहीं बेरे शबरी के जैसे खिलाते नहीं कौन कहते हैं भगवान खाते नहीं बेरे शबरी के जैसे खिलाते नहीं अच्युतं केशवं कृष्णदामोदरं रामनारायणं जानकीवल्लभम् अच्युतं केशवं कृष्णदामोदरं रामनारायणं जानकीवल्लभम् कौन कहते हैं भगवान सोते नहीं माँ यशोदा के जैसे सुलाते नहीं कौन कहते हैं भगवान सोते नहीं माँ यशोदा के जैसे सुलाते नहीं अच्युतं केशवं कृष्णदामोदरं रामनारायणं जानकीवल्लभम् अच्युतं केशवं कृष्णदामोदरं रामनारायणं जानकीवल्लभं कौन कहते हैं भगवान नाचते नहीं गोपियों की तरह तुम नचाते नहीं कौन कहते हैं भगवान नाचते नहीं गोपियों की तरह तुम नचाते नहीं अच्युतं केशवं कृष्णदामोदरं रामनारायणं जानकीवल्लभं अच्युतं केशवं कृष्णदामोदरं रामनारायणं जानकीवल्लभं रामनारायणं जानकीवल्लभं रामनारायणं जानकीवल्लभम्.
That was a beautiful presentation. Over to Hegde ji for announcements.
कौन कहते हैं कि भगवान सुनता नहीं, इन बच्चों के तरह तुम गाते नहीं. I was just praising you in Hindi.
Hari Om. I was going to repeat that. Swamiji stole my thunder. Right. That's okay.
It cannot be reversed.
Hari Om. Welcome back. Hope you all had a relaxing Labor Day weekend. And let's see, I see some faces that attended the Labor Day camp. Let's see how many of you attended the Labor Day camp. Few at least, yes. All right. If you are one of those who attended the Labor Day camp, I was one of them. I was honored to attend the camp. It was very uplifting coming after 2 years of COVID and very rewarding as well. And we had some fun in the process. And those of you keep asking the questions, of course, this year is different. How can we have time with Swamiji? And that's a perfect way to have some time with Swamiji, even those sessions where Swamiji is not leading those sessions, it will be a perfect opportunity, and you will get those opportunities throughout the year. So please take advantage of these camps. Is there anyone who is attending the open house? Anyone? So otherwise I will skip that item. This is the last weekend of open house. So if you get any questions about it, you can ask them to go to the second session. There is one more session after this. So they can go to this, the second session, but this is the last weekend of open house. Children, class materials like Balavihar textbooks and folders, we will continue to distribute these materials in your respective classroom. Just a reminder, returning parents and children, please bring and continue to repurpose the previous year's bag. Parents and teachers, the Balavihar folder and handbook is available for download on our website, cmdfw.org, as Swamiji mentioned at the outset. Cultural and language classes. In addition to Balavihar, as most of you know, Balavihar is our core program. We offer other classes such as language, Gita chanting, music, dance, etc. We are pleased to announce the commencement of cultural classes at all centers starting today, September 11. Dance and Vadya Tarangini or orchestra classes will start from next Sunday, September 18, and will be offered only at Saaket. All these classes will be held between 10:45 a.m. and 11:45 a.m. between the two sessions. We are open for enrollment in these classes now. Please enroll your child online. The link is provided online. A child must be enrolled in Balavihar in order to enroll for any of these cultural classes. A child may register for both Gita chanting and Shlokathan, for example, and split their hour between the two classes. So one of the classes I strongly encourage all the children enroll in is Shlokathan. So here I have the Shlokathan book, which is a collection of about 260 shlokas taken from various scripts. And you will get to learn these shlokas and get tested after you complete each section. There is a Ganesha section, there is a Guru section, there is a Shiva section, etc. And after you complete each section, you will get a sticker that goes on a plaque. And once you complete all these sections, you will get a huge trophy. So many of you may have seen or earned also. If you want to check out the class, feel free to sit in and watch the class. However, you are urged to enroll your children promptly so they can start in earnest from this Sunday. As always, fees are waived for Parivar members to attend those classes with a fee. We appeal to the Seva spirit of members who can contribute as teacher volunteers for languages, music, Gita, and Shlokathan. You may start as a co-teacher if you feel tentative about assuming this role. You may be pleasantly surprised how much you will learn and gain as a teacher. Please contact the cultural class coordinator, Arunachalam Venkatraman. His contacts are provided online. If you have any questions or need more information about signing up for these classes, please contact Arun Venkatraman. Thank you and Hari Om.
I have two things to add to what Ramesh ji has just said. One, because of this situation of COVID and its impact on different families in different ways, if you find that there is a family that is hesitating to join because of some financial economic situations that they think that they cannot afford for the donations and other things, please inform them that they can reach us, or you can bring them and contact Ramesh ji. We would be waiving it off for that, because if not now, when will the family stand for each other? So please inform such and keep a lookout for such. Let us be an extension for these families as well. The second one is, after the kids leave, then I'll have one-on-one with all of you with regards to the volunteering and teaching and various other core jobs for which I will be talking to you. If I don't, please remind me that.
I have one more thing to add. This is for 12th graders who are preparing their college applications. There is going to be a college essay workshop next Sunday, September 18, between 4:30 and 6:30 p.m. right here at Saaket. All the details have been shared with you all. If not, let me know, or it will be posted online. But if you have any questions, please contact Dr. Sushma Dandekar. Her contact is available online as well. That's college essay workshop next Sunday evening between 4:30 and 6:30 p.m. Thank you.
It's only for 12th graders.
Only for 12th graders.
Because there are many, we are brown. So they say, we will prepare for them from 9th grade onwards. Not necessary. 12th grade is when you have to apply. It's only for 12th graders. So 12th grade students and parents, please bring them for this. They will really benefit from this. Let us all stand up for pledge and arati.
We stand as one family, bound to each other with love and respect. We serve as an army, courageous and disciplined, ever ready to fight against all low tendencies and false values within and without us. We live honestly the noble life of sacrifice and service, producing more than what we consume and giving more than what we take. We seek the Lord's grace to keep us on the path of virtue, courage, and wisdom. May thy grace and blessings flow through us to the world around us. We believe that the service of our country is the service of the Lord of Lords, and devotion to the people is a devotion to the Supreme Self. We know our responsibilities. Give us the ability and courage to fulfill them. Om Tat Sat. आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की दिव्य रूप मूर्ति करुणा की आरती सद्गुरु की चरणों में उनके शांति समाये शरणागत की भ्रांति मिटाए पाप ताप संताप हरण की आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की आरती सद्गुरु की वेद उपनिषद गीता को गाया धर्म सनातन फिर से जगाया शुद्ध नीति प्रीति शंकर की आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की आरती सद्गुरु की सिद्ध बारिकी तपोभूमि में नित्य विराजे गुरु हमारे भक्त हृदय आनंद श्रोत्र की आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की आरती सद्गुरु की आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की दिव्य रूप मूर्ति करुणा की आरती सद्गुरु की आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की दिव्य रूप मूर्ति करुणा की आरती सद्गुरु की. Let's all sit down. Let's chant the Nam Smaran while we dismiss the classes. We'll start with 10th grade and 11th grade. Om Namah Shivaya. 2nd grade and 6th grade.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. 12th and 7th grade. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Kindergarten and 4th grade. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. 9th grade and 3rd grade. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. 1st grade and 8th grade. And 5th grade. We will continue to have the adult satsang here with Swamiji.
Hari Om. You can continue sitting in the chair. It's okay. Hari Om. Let me try again. Hari Om. Much better. there are classes for the children from pre-K all the way up until 12th grade. This kind of structured environment of learning our own culture, religion, dharma, traditions, rituals is a necessity in this kind of environment, because we have a different culture, we hail from a different civilization, but we have chosen to settle in this country where the civilization and cultural ethos is different. So to maintain that which we treasure, we can maintain it only when it is lived. And it can be lived efficiently if it is learnt in a structured, proper way. So we require that kind of an environment to develop. In Chinmaya Mission, I cannot thank them enough that we extend this only because there is a very strong group of volunteers. And Chinmaya Mission has been offering this since 1964. How many of us have been born after 1964? After 1964. Pretty much everybody, except for. And as I see, there are couple of you who have grown up in Chinmaya Mission, and now you are the next generation bringing your children, right? I see that corner because one is from Chicago, the other is from Houston, right? How does this happen? It happens because of the volunteers that sign up. Many of you sitting here would say, Swamiji, I do not know head or tail of what you expect to be taught to the children. It will be a disaster if you want me to go into that classroom. Well, we all start as a disaster, don't we? When we are born, none of us were like Usain Bolt shooting out of mother's womb. We crawled, we cried. We were on our 4, again cried. We started trying to balance on 2 feet, fell down, cried again. The point is, we didn't give up. Are you all able to walk? What would have happened if you had given up? Because your first few years, not few attempts, few years were a disaster. Isn't it? Most of us somehow in life, we have forgotten that first lesson. I had read this beautiful Hindi poem or a poet's work where he says, कैसे भूली ये जिंदगी की पहली सीख, चलते चलते गिरना, गिरकर संभलना, फिर भी चल पाना. How did we lose out on the first lesson that we ever learnt, that success is only to those who strive at it again and again and again. Somehow as we grow, we have defined that it has to be in 1 or 2 attempts, and then if not, it is not meant for us. If that be the case, we would never be speaking, we would never be walking, we would never be eating. Whenever I go to the restaurants, and if in that restaurant there is a high chair where the little kid has been caged, I am amused at the way that they eat. I am sure you have raised kids, so you know how of the total mass of food that is spread on that little table of theirs, it is not kept, it is spread. 80% misses the mark. It is all over the place. Maybe 20% reaches the mark. And if that 20% is not appreciated, mercilessly, what does the kid do? Spreads it joyously. Imagine if that kid were to give up after 2 attempts. Like how we do most of the things in life these days, right? Oh, I tried that, Swamiji. It didn't work out. I would say parenting is one such job which we cannot give up. Isn't it? It's not like the car models where we say recall and send it back to the manufacturer. Or it is not a control alt del button where you just press and the whole thing system is deleted. Bhagwan, recall. Ye bachcha pasand nahi aaya. We don't have that choice. We learn how to work with them. Similarly, when it comes to teaching, I say if you are a parent, obviously you are all here on a Sunday, which means you are a parent. Right? Is my assumption fair enough? Right. You want this system of culture to be taught to your next generation, your children. Yes? Sometimes I agree with the Western way of people teasing us, saying we don't understand the Indian nod system. Ha ya na. So you are a parent and you want this to be taught to the next generation. If these two aspects are there, then you can become a good teacher. The rest of it is in how we train you. More importantly, how the children train you while you are teaching. See, if there is a resounding participation, that means you are doing something good. That can be achieved. So, with this little introduction, if you feel that you can teach, I would implore that you should teach, because teaching is the best method to learn. Who is the first student that benefits from somebody that engages in teaching? आप तो सब कुछ जानते हैं. You know it. Because the first impact is on the individual. And the best part is, the kids ensure that that teacher in us is enlivened, not just in the classroom environment. Anywhere else that you go, these sets of eyes are watching you keenly. You are the Hariom auntie, Hariom uncle. They may not know you by name. They are watching you. So who is put on the line? That you want to get angry, but you are not in the classroom, so it doesn't matter, right? But you see a Balavihar kid in the market or in the front desk or somewhere, and I said, not in front of the kids. Badlav aaya ki nahi? So that starts. So I would say it's a good place to start. Age is not the criteria. You can start at any age to teach. Once, Puja Gurudev, Swami Chinmaya ji, I was 14 years. And we were a busy, interesting group of 20 odd students who did not have a volunteer to teach us. So this was in the year 88, 89. So a group of us, we went, approached him. I said, there are so many adult volunteers, why don't you ask one of them to be our sevak, to teach, to moderate the class. So he listened to our appeal. On his side table, there was a book. He pulled out a book. It was called Self-Unfoldment. And then he looked at me because I was the loudest voice. He asked my name. He wrote my name down and gave that book to me and said, you be my teacher to this group of students. I'm like, are you joking? I mean, I couldn't ask that because he was very seriously looking at me and saying that you be the teacher. I have not. He said, you read and explain what you have understood. And he looked at others mischievously and said, make sure that every time he speaks, give him a tough time with asking the toughest awkward questions. That will prepare you to learn properly. This is how I was thrown in the deep end. Now, why should you be given anything less? Right? So, Rameshji, most of them smiled. Maunam Angikara Lakshanam. A translation of it is silent nod or smile is like an approval. So they all agree to be teachers. How many of you would like to teach? एक, दो, तीन, चार, पांच. You'll try? Very good. 6 at least. That's a good beginning. Can you please note down the names? Can you all reach out to him as soon as the class is done? And he will take your names down. Give your mobile numbers that you will answer. Pata chala Chinmaya mission call. Ignore. No, please communicate with him, and by next week we will work with you. Now that that is done, was there anything else that I said I will? Nothing else. Okay. Now we'll get into the topic. What will I cover? Those of you who said that they are going to sign up, they'll say, Swamiji, ye satsang miss ho jayega. We'll miss out on this satsang. Don't worry, we got you covered. 9 to 10:30, the Balavihar ends. The next 1 hour following, there is a satsang only for teachers. So you can attend that. Your children can be engaged in the cultural activities that you can sign them up for. And for good measure, bring your spouse also to those teacher satsangs so that I can inspire them to become teachers as well. Hint, hint. Bring them also. So in this particular session with the adults, we thought we will engage you with a discussion on Bhaja Govindam. You all have heard Bhaja Govindam? Thanks to M.S. Subbalakshmi ji. In the most melodious, beautiful voice, she has sung that. That your YouTube, many of you choose to listen to it early in the morning. That is one thing that I regretfully don't have any skill set with, is to sing. I can only chant, and you will have to bear with it. So we will look into the Bhaja Govindam this whole year ahead. As an introduction, one topic that I started in the Bhagavad Gita shlokas, I had mentioned something. organized religion versus spirituality. Before I step into that landmine, why did you all choose spirituality over organized religion? Because you all said you like spirituality more than organized religion. कुछ तो समझ होगा why you made that kind of a choice. Can anybody volunteer to enlighten me? Does religion, that organized religion, not promise inner consciousness? Organized religion does not give inner consciousness, but spirituality does, is her explanation. So in his opinion, spirituality is where a reason and understanding is given. In organized religion, there is no such understanding given. Anybody else? Yes, Amma. Spirituality connects you to above, whereas religion, organized religion, it's more about rituals. Any other reason other than what has been already stated? Yes, please. Organized religion does not allow you to think independently, whereas in spirituality, thinking is encouraged. Seeking, thinking is encouraged. Okay. So repeating what he just said is, organized religion is how you have been exposed to the system of doing things, whereas spirituality is more appealing because it connects you to something deeper. Did I capture the essence of what you said? Okay. हमारे रूल्स नहीं होंगे तो गड़बड़ हो जाएगा यार. हाँ, there has to be rigidity in traffic. Allow Indians to go without. गड़बड़ हो जाएगा. क्या क्या baseline गलत है आपका. To say that rules and regulations is bad. No, rules and regulations are not bad. I mean, the rest of it, I may not agree with what they have said, but I have to say a lot. But this, outrightly, I would say that is a wrong premise to even think about. What will happen if the rules and regulations are not there for your children? कपड़े वहीं पे होंगे. कहाँ पे? बिस्तर पे. Fluid. Let's have fluidity there. Moisture, fluid, wet towels on the bed should be okay, right? The dishes that they have used should be on the table, fluid. Now, baseline of what you just said, I don't agree there. I have a problem with that. I might cover it while I go through it. Yes, sir. Hey Ram, can somebody call 911? will be the last opinion that I'll take. Religion is associated with politics and spirituality is not. Give me two people under one roof, I'll show you politics. My opinion, your opinion, and somebody else comes, then becomes our opinion. Tell politics. Okay, let's go into the crux of it. Organized religion is a very technical word which many of us Hindus have not been exposed to. It is a theological word. How many of you realize that it is a theological word of the Abrahamic religious set? Without understanding that basis, we have just jumped to conclusion that anything which seems to be organized with set boundaries is organized religion, and that which does not is spirituality. That is how we have heard right now, with many of you defining it. Organized religion is a very theologically loaded word. Let us understand that first. Organized religion has a system of hierarchy wherein you can connect with anything called divine only through a medium. Let me repeat it. It's a system of hierarchy where you can connect with divine only through a medium. Without that medium, your prayers are not answered. Your confessions go waste. Your prayers go waste if it is not done through that medium. That system of hierarchy where you need a pastor, a priest, a monk, or someone else to connect you to that divine, without which your connection is shunya. That is called organized religion. Does Hinduism fall under organized religion? अरे काहे यस बोलते हो यार? Can't you have your own altar at your home? Does there need to be a priest to be there? Then why do you say yes? We don't even think. As a Hindu, we do not require the system where there needs to be a conduit through who we have to offer our prayers. Am I getting across? You can have your own personal altar and you can communicate with your Bhagwan. However small the prayer be, it doesn't matter. But there is no intermediary required. First aspect of organized religion. Am I getting across? So when somebody henceforth asks you or talks to you on that particular topic of organized religion and spirituality, Hinduism does not fall under that criteria. I am trying to redefine the word because it is a theological word. It is not depending on your definition of it. It is a theological definition by their books. We have adopted it without knowing what we are adopting. I am illuminating on that aspect alone. Second, you cannot challenge what the book says. You have to adhere to what the book says as it says, without which you are not a practitioner of that particular religion. right in the 3rd chapter as we started of Bhagavad Gita, what did Arjuna do? That which we say as Bhagavad Gita is a book, right? In that book, who is speaking to who? Bhagavan Krishna is speaking to Arjuna, and what is Arjuna doing? He is not just questioning, he is ridiculing Bhagavan. Vyamishreneva vakyena buddhim mohayasiva me tadekam vada nischitya yena shreyoham apnuyam. 2nd shloka that we just learnt. Bhagavan, vyamishreneva. Mishrana. Mishrana means what? Mixed. Vyamishreneva. Confusingly mixed standpoints are your dialogue in the 2nd chapter. Therefore, confusion is in your head, not in my head. You are confused, Bhagavan. Can you imagine any other religion saying it to their God? Oh my God. Bhagavan, तुसी confused हो यार. You are confused. I am not. Vyamishreneva vakyena. And not only that you are confused, you are confusing me. Buddhim mohayasiva me. My buddhi, you are deluding. Therefore, I give you another chance. Arjuna says to Bhagavan, I give you another chance. If you want to reconsider what you have said in the 2nd chapter and remove your confusions. That is not possible in other books, other religions. That dogma does not exist in Hinduism, cannot exist. Why? Whether it is in Upanishads, Shruti, whether it is in Purana, whether it is in Itihasa or in the Smriti Granthas, one of the primary things that the teacher always says to the student, yes, listen carefully, but do not accept without understanding it. However long it takes for you to get to that understanding, please do not refrain from questioning it. In fact, one of the Upanishads, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says to the students, try shredding my logic. He openly challenges the students. He says, try shredding my logic. If you are able to shred my logic, I will become your follower. There cannot exist dogma where you are being empowered to question. So therefore it does not fall under organized religion. For them, it requires a requirement of a separate zone where they can connect to the divine without that intermediary, and that they call as spirituality. We do not require that. Why? We have been empowered with an outlook right from the word go to understand. If lack of understanding, then question, come to that point of discussion where that understanding crystallizes into wisdom. Then put it into practice. Whenever there was a generation where the generation of Hindus did not jump in with their questions, but got caught up in a system of practices, where the practices were more important than the understanding of it, thus thereby deluded in their own understanding. There has been a stalwart that was born to correct the ways of life, ways of thinking of the fellow Hindu. Most of our scriptures that we study today is written by who? Bhagavan Vedavyasa. Though he has not authored the Vedic literature, but he was the first one to put it on paper and pen. A written format of it was done by him. Itihasa, there are two itihasas. One is Ramayana, the other is Mahabharata. Ramayana has 24,000 shlokas and Mahabharata has 100,000 shlokas. Ramayana was written by Rishi Valmiki ji and Mahabharata was written by Bhagavan Vedavyas ji, Maharshi Vedavyasa. Can I request something? Whenever we refer to them, can we address them with proper respect? Vedavyas, क्या तुम्हारा लंगोटिया यार था? Was your chaddi buddy? Who wrote it? Oh, that Vedavyas. Can we add Maharshi Vedavyasa? If we do not respect it, who else is going to respect? Please. Okay. Who wrote Ramayana? Thank you. Maharshi Valmiki. Who wrote Mahabharata? Maharshi Vedavyasa. Thank you. So, the Shruti Vedas, the Veda was penned down for the first time by Maharshi Vedavyas ji. Itihasa written by Valmiki Maharshi and Maharshi Vedavyas ji. Then comes the Purana. Purana was written by Maharshi Vedavyas ji again. 18 Puranas, 18 Upapuranas, 36 in total, were written by Maharshi Vedavyas. Smriti Granthas, there are several Smriti Granthas. Parashara Smriti, Garga Smriti, Manu Smriti. Bhagavad Gita is also considered as a Smriti Grantha. Who wrote Bhagavad Gita? Maharshi Vedavyas ji, because it is an integral part of the bigger work called Mahabharata. So Maharshi Vedavyas ji reinvigorated about 5,000 years ago the entire Vedic knowledge to be accessible to that generation of masses. Then came the generation where it was Adi Shankaracharya ji. Now one has to understand the environment right around Adi Shankaracharya ji's time. Do not refer to Wikipedia. That is the last source or resource that I would ever refer to, anything to do with Hinduism. FYI. Please. Yeah, it is very handy, but it is very convoluted. Do you want me to repeat that statement again? With regards to Hinduism, Wikipedia is the last resource where you have to go check for any sanctity of information. It is convoluted. If you pick Google and say Adi Shankaracharya, his time, when was he? You will find a discrepancy of 800 years. One or 2 years, 1 or 2 decades also I am okay to live with. 8 centuries. 5th century BCE to 2nd century ADE. जिसको जो कन्वीनियंट लगा वो उसमें डाल दिया. He was born after the period, right after the period of both Gautama Buddha and Mahavir. Gautama Buddha, the followers started something called Buddhism. After Mahavira, Jainism. Buddhism, Jainism. Until then, everything that was within the context of Bharat, any parampara was under the umbrella of Dharma, Vedic Dharma. Whether it is Rishi Kanada, Kanada Rishi talks about physics. You talk about Anu, Paramanu. This was about 800 to 900 years before even Buddha and Mahavira. Rishi Kanada. And he talks nothing but pure science, pure physics. But it was still under the dharmic umbrella. When it came down to Buddha and the Jainism, Jainism is still not declared. They leave it under a question mark. But Buddha said, I am not somebody who has studied Veda. So the method that I have has got nothing to do with Vedic literature. So his was the first thought strain which was outside of the dharmic fold. Okay, here one more clarity that is required. In the Western philosophy, who is an atheist and who is a theist? When you hear the word theism and atheism, what does it mean? Atheism, that one or the group of people, those who don't believe in God. Theism is that who believes in God. Hindi or Sanskrit translation of theism and atheism would become astik or nastik. So we assume that the definition of astik and nastik is the same. Those who believe in God and those who believe not in God. That is not so. Kya? Really? Astik are those who believe in Veda. Those who do not believe in the Veda are called Nastika. There is a huge difference. Those who believe in God, those who do not believe in God. When Rishi Kanada said that I believe only in Anu, Paramanu and their intermixture and the creation, there may be an Ishvara, but it is not about that. He said, okay, you are still in the dharmic fold, even though you say that there is no Ishvara. There are various such systems wherein Anishvaravada, where that God as a concept is not accepted, but still they are considered dharmic. Strange, right? But to follow various other things, the Karma Siddhanta and the Moksha Siddhanta, they accepted that, but without Ishvara. So Astika, Nastika is not belief in God. It is belief in Veda and those who don't follow Veda. And not even belief. Those who follow Veda, those who do not follow Veda. So Buddhism and Jainism, they said, our methods have got nothing to do directly or indirectly with respect to Veda. So they became Nastika. No, it impacted socio-economic environment of that particular generation, where the entire civilization got split. Now, how does the Gurukula work? Whoever is the Guru in that particular village or town or country or kingdom, their Shishya would go out every morning for Bhiksha. Whatever is brought is what sustained the Gurukula. I am putting it in a very simplistic terms. Bhiksha could be Vastra Bhiksha, Anna Bhiksha, Go Bhiksha, various kinds of resources from the community which supported their own children being educated by that Gurukula. Now what happened? That within the community there was a split. They said we cannot sustain or support 2-3 different kinds. We already support the Buddhist monks. We cannot support the Hindu Gurukulas. There are various impacts of it, but one of the impacts that happened is, suddenly when the knee-jerk effect happened, that those who were supposed to be practicing are reducing, as a knee-jerk effect. You understand knee-jerk effect, right? Something has happened, logically or illogically, we cling on to something for some sanity. So that generation clinged on to something called, at least let us stick to the ritual parts and let us imbibe those rituals to next generation. Within the Hindu understanding, there is nothing wrong with rituals, Amma. There is nothing wrong with the do's and don'ts of rituals. The basic necessity for a discipline is do's and don'ts. Oh, I would love to take my vehicle on Dallas North Tollway. The prescribed speed there is 70. Dallas North Tollway. How much do you drive at? If you end up driving at 70, people passing by you will give you nasty looks. And there are some Hastra Samudrika Lakshanas also that they display. For the sanctity of this place, I will not display them. But I do understand what those Hastra Samudrika Lakshanas, meaning hand gestures that they will display while crossing you. Why? You are following 70, where the assumed norm is 80, 85. Because people think that is the prerequisition for your NASCAR qualification. Now, do's and don'ts, if they are not there, what will happen? Chaos will happen. Meri marzi. Why should I be driving on the right? It's a do and don't, right? I'll drive on the left. Why? I'm Bharatiya. I'm a Indian. What side do you drive in India? Huh? See, that is the right mindset. Wherever I drive is the right side. They drive on the left. So I'll drive wherever I feel like, right? I don't need do's and don'ts. No, ritual, the do's and don'ts are not wrong. Rituals per se are not wrong. What does Hinduism say? It says, just like in science, there is pure science and applied science. Right? Pure science and the applied science. Pure science is the basic understanding of the applied science. The philosophy of the applied science is pure science. Is it okay to define it that way? You are all okay with that definition? Okay. Similarly, with context to the Hindu Dharma, there is pure, that is the philosophy of it, and the application of that philosophy is called ritual. समझ में आ रहा है? The pure aspect of it is called philosophy. The applied aspect of it is called the ritual. Now, what happens when the ritual loses its understanding? It becomes blind. What happens if you only follow philosophy and not ritual? It becomes lame. Where is the perfect balance? Where you understand and apply that understanding, and that which you are doing is purely motivated with that understanding. It goes hand in hand. One leaves the other, you either become lame or you become blind. At that point, because of the society being split, the knee-jerk effect, they stuck to the rituals. The philosophy aspect of it was forgotten. That balance had to be reinstated. Then came Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya ji in bringing about that balance. We are about 2 minutes to close. You had your hand raised briefly. Did I see it? Okay. There's no question. Okay. Why do we? I understand. I totally understand as to how we have grown up. That is how we answer. But what I am trying to also bring to illumination here is, most of these words that we just pick up as tidbits of, I wouldn't want to denigrate it by calling it as WhatsApp wisdom, but that is how we have picked it up. That we don't even pay second attention to it as to what should be the origin of it. So when you go to the origins of it, you will be like aghast. That is not what I meant. Though I have used it, that is not what I meant. So that illumination also is required. Meaning that exposure, that understanding, that research is also required. But lucky for you, I have done that research and I am presenting that research, expecting you to continue that research. Again, my ask is not, because I have stated so, therefore you accept. Then I am doing wrong to my own very thesis for the last half an hour. Now that you have been introduced, now try exploring it. So this is the socio-environment around the time when Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya ji was. So what was the method? What did he do? That we will see next week, because that is the key factor of how to unfold our own minds, because we love living in convenient complacencies as our comfort zones. And in that comfort zone, we have adapted to things which may or may not, because of how we have grown up, as he put it. So those will be challenged to have a re-look at it. That is when Adi Shankaracharya ji's very pointers that are given in Bhaja Govindam can be clearly understood and probably inspired to be lived as well. We'll conclude here and continue next week. hopefully without the mask. Om Shanta Shanta Shanti Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.